Benvenuti. Let's cook together today. We're here in our farmhouse kitchen outside the city of Assisi in rural Umbria, but we're cooking today something Siciliano, taught to me by my beloved mother-in-law, no longer with us, Signora Vincenza. This is her way to make melanzane alla parmigiana, eggplant parmesan. In Sicily, when she grew up, of course, there were no ovens probably in her house. When Pino grew up, he might have had a small oven in his home, but certainly it wouldn't be turned on in the summer when it was so hot. So this eggplant parmesan is done without the use of an oven. We're going to do everything on the top of the stove. What are the ingredients? Eggplants. And please don't buy eggplants as big as footballs. This is the nice size of eggplant you want. Tomatoes to make our sauce, very fresh, ripe Roma tomatoes. In the sauce will also go basil from our garden, garlic, and onion. And after we make the sauce, we're going to be frying the eggplant in our olive oil. And we're going to layer it, eggplant sauce, basil leaves between the layers, and topped with, I'm not using Parmigiano actually. I'm going to use il formaggio di mio marito Pino, the cheese of my husband Pino. This is goat's milk cheese. This is one of the goat's milk cheeses Pino made recently. And this has been aged nicely, perfect for grating. This is the grated Caprino di Pino. Now, let us slice the eggplants. And our goats will be delighted with the tips, these scraps. So I'm just taking off the top of the eggplant. And I think for frying, I'm going to have them about this size. So the next step is taking off part of the skin on each side to assure better frying, because the eggplant has to be exposed to the olive oil when fries. And then all the eggplants are sliced just like this. Careful of fingers. That are fried, scraps ready for the goats, and we're going to put the eggplant under a lot of salted water, cold water, and that will draw out the bitterness. The water is actually going to turn brown, as we'll see. Plant here, and I'm filling this up with cold water. How much salt? Quanto basta? QB, as much as you need. There can't really be too much, because we're going to rinse them after we salt them. Now I'll probably weight this down with a plate or a lid or something and let the eggplant sit about 20 minutes. Okay. Well, we have our eggplant now. Under salt, salty water, rinsed, 2 or 3 rinses to make sure all the salt is out, and they've nicely dried, and we'll soon be frying them. But let us make the tomato sauce. Easy. Nice red Roma tomatoes. And they go into cold water. And what I'm going to do is squash them underwater. All the seeds are out. This is the most delicious and quick tomato sauce. Just a quick squash underwater. Takes just seconds. We're getting out the seeds. That's all it takes. I've checked them very carefully to make sure there's, no spots on them that aren't good spots. And giving them a push. Great exercise. This is nice therapy, everybody. Got frustrations in life? Go make some tomato sauce. There we go. There they are. Let's see how easy this is. In they go into the pot. Into the pot goes 1 whole white onion, lots of fresh basil, and I'm keeping some basil to set aside for this recipe, and you'll see why. 3 or 4 garlic cloves. Everything is QB. And we're going to do this. We'll turn it on and add olive oil. How much olive oil? QB. Please observe, this is our extra virgin olive oil. You want to see this nice, beautiful green. And I want to get it on the bottom. Let me show you this. Isn't that beautiful? And this is going to simmer away. Add another touch of olive oil. And it is going to simmer away with a bit of salt in it. I'm putting about that much, so forth. For now, about a tablespoon. And I'm going to cook it on a low heat. And as it starts to simmer away, we're going to see it's close to being a tomato sauce. Okay, our pasta sauce, the sugo di pomodoro, is coming along quite nicely. The onion is there, the garlic is there, they're whole. That's all right. They're going to be passed in a tomato pureer. We'll pass all of them together. Nice amount of basil in there. I could even add some extra bit later. So my pasta sauce is doing well. I'll uncover it now or lower the heat because it is time to fry the eggplant. And when we fry, we never use all olive oil because the oil would smoke and burn. So I'm going to be using probably about half sunflower seed oil. Big crisis this year, prices going up because of the Ukraine war and the blockage at the Odessa ports, of course. We'll see what goes up with the price of seed oils here. But we do need some seed oil. Of course, olive oil is our main flavor, but when we're frying, and you can have a look here, I'm using part seed oil, sunflower seed in this case. I could be using mixed seed and olive oil. I'm going to fry when this spits, so I'm going to put one eggplant sauce in, which will tell me when I'm ready to add the other eggplant. The oil to a hotter burner for better frying. And I'm getting ready to fry. And as I've mentioned in past cooking videos, of course this house doesn't have any paper towel. We're not going to waste paper if we don't need it. In Italy, we have many lovely paper bags that our bread comes in, perfectly hygienic. And these are the bags which I save and will rip up to use to steep up the oil when I'm frying. So I'm getting all ready for frying now. And you can have a look now. I see the eggplant nicely spitting. Not spitting too much because the eggplant is not wet. And then I'm going to slide these in because when we fry, we don't want any spaces. They should be touching each other. And notice again how these eggplants, we've sliced them so that all the flesh is exposed for better frying. You don't want to be frying the skin, but you need to be frying the flesh of the eggplant. Okay, and that's about it. The sauce is simmering nicely, and you can see how it's cooked down, and it's soon going to be ready to puree. Now, as my eggplant cooks, I want to get some more basil ready, and the chop can be a kind of big chop, and these are going to be sprinkled between the layers of eggplant tomato sauce, and sprinkled, of course, with the caprino di Pino, goat's milk cheese aged between the layers. Tomato sauce, and we're ready to pass it. Now, is it thick enough? Is it reduced enough? Perhaps yes, perhaps no. There's no worries. Once we pass it, if I want to reduce it a bit more, I just return it to the heat. So I think I'm going to pass it the way it is right now. Bingo. Now we are passing our tomato sauce. Now, I see something right here that I can't pass. That's the basil, so we're leaving that behind. That won't go through. The tomatoes can definitely go through. Basil leaves can go through, but not the basil stems, so discard. Chickens will be happy. Happy chickens coming up, basil. Okay, and one more that I'm not putting in the sauce. And the rest of the sauce I can pass. Whoops. Take out this basil. And then I'm going to pass the sauce. And the sauce will soon be ready. Fried. And I'm going to layer it in the bottom of a dish. As mentioned, I think in the past, a lot of our dishes are maiolica, double-fired ceramics. This maiolica is not actually from Deruta. This is from northern Italy, Reggio Emilia. This is beautiful maiolica Faenza. So I just have one layer on the bottom like this, and then I'm going to sprinkle some fresh basil like this. And then over this, I'm going to spoon tomato sauce and then sprinkle some nice grated cheese. So this is our first layer. It has been passed through the pureer, and I'm reducing it slightly, and went out to the garden and got some more basil. One can never have too much basil in a tomato sauce, in a fresh tomato sauce. Simple ingredients: tomatoes squashed out so the seeds come out, garlic, 1 white onion, fresh basil, salt, QB, as much as it takes, quanto basta, and I say the same for basilico, QB. Okay, a bit of the tomato sauce, and we're just drizzling it over the eggplant, like this, the eggplant and the fresh basil, and now a sprinkle of the caprino di Pino, or grated Parmesan if that's what you have, or if you like a little bite, part grated Parmesan and part sheep's milk cheese, pecorino. And then we're going to slide on another layer of eggplant. There we go. And we're kind of evenly space them out. Okay. I'll fill in the corners here a bit. And we'll take another layer here. I don't want to have any empty spaces. They're sort of overlapping each other. Make sure all the tomatoes are covered. I think I'll do one more here. Okay. Then basil. And it can be just torn up leaves. Smaller if we can. There we go. And then we're going to spoon on the tomato. Spoon on the tomato. A little bit of grated cheese. Sprinkle it right on. You decide for yourself. If you're making this for your vegan friends, you won't want to add cheese between the layers, but just tomato sauce. And then we continue. We continue our layer here. There we go. And I've soaked the oil out of them as much as possible on this brown paper. And there we are. And final level. Actually, on the final level, I think I'm going to put basil right on the top. So I'll put the tomato first. And sometimes I'll actually put right in the center a nice sprig of basil as a kind of final decoration. Here we go. A little cheese. Formaggio grattugiato, grated cheese. This one is the caprino di Pino, the goat's milk cheese of Pino. We have a lot. We can be generous with our cheese. And then I'll just stick a little bit of leaf right in the center like that. How's that? And then we're going to break up some basil around it. This is a delightful summer dish. If it's warm weather, as it has been here, you may want to do the frying in the morning. This need not be served hot. This is delightful at room temperature. So we have made the melanzane alla parmigiana, transferring it to this name, le melanzane al caprino di Pino. Shall we say it correctly though? Melanzane fritte al caprino di Pino con sugo di pomodoro. Fried eggplant with tomato sauce Pino's goat's milk cheese. Buon appetito. Enjoy.